Can you guys hear me? Okay. Yeah, can you guys hear me? Hello? Are we still live? Like, they're probably wondering like what's going on.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing, 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 testing. 1, 2. Testing. Test, 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 test. Of course, there's a delay, but test, test, test. Test, test, test. Hello.
So, tonight I'm going to be talking about obstacles because that's something I know a lot of us face on our daily lives. Especially when you're young, it seems like your obstacles are huge. You know, a lot bigger than us because we feel so little compared to our obstacles. I'm sure the first thing you think about when you think of an obstacle is like mountain climbing or Wipeout, the show Wipeout. That's what you think about when you think of an obstacle. But do you guys know what the real definition of an obstacle is? So according to Google, it's a thing that blocks one's way or prevents or hinders progress. So what's blocking your progress? Like what's preventing you to progress? Anything you can think about that's preventing you from progressing. Something you're facing, you know, that won't allow you to progress. Did you ever feel like helpless when you faced those obstacles? Like nothing you did, like, could help. Like nothing you did helped you. You know, like you felt helpless. You know, so I found the reason why I felt helpless at that time because I really didn't allow God to enter in my life and do His blessings. You know. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself and what I've been through with the obstacles. And my ride with God has been a roller coaster. It's been up and down. I never knew that He was actually always with me until I've been looking back into my life right now. Now that I know a little bit more of God, He was always with me. And He was always... Hello? All right. He was always with me, and I never noticed that until now, and I look back at how many times He wanted to get me closer to Him, and you just never notice it because you're blocking your brain and you're focusing on the obstacle more than on God. You know? When we feel weak, we feel like nothing can ever help us. You know, we just throw the towel and we don't even try to look for God. We feel like our obstacles are bigger than Him. And on 2 Corinthians 12:9, it says, "But He said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." And it is. It really is. When I started facing, it goes back to when I was young, you know, the first obstacle that I faced and that really affected me was my parents' divorce, my parents' separation. It affected me a lot, you know. And then that led me to rebel in school and not pay attention, you know. And because I was acting out in school, they diagnosed me with ADHD. So they started putting me in classes where I wouldn't listen, you know, and I just didn't really like school because of that. And I probably would have paid more attention in school if I would just take regular classes, but they put me in special classes. They put me in special classes, and sometimes I felt like my biggest bullies was the school system itself, more than the bullies at school. they would really call me out in front of school. They would like, hey, when did you take your medication? Have you taken your medication? When I was fine, you know, I was a kid. But I guess I felt like at that time I was only 8 years old, and I felt like nobody understood me. And I would go home and I would get frustrated. I would get more frustrated because I don't know, like I just couldn't talk to my parents about it. You know, I couldn't talk to my mom or dad. Don't get me wrong, I love my mom, and I can understand why she decided to go through that, to put me through that. You know, because as a mother, you want the best for your child, and she, as a young mother, she listened to what the school was telling her was best for me. You know. But yeah, it affected me a lot, and I got into a lot of trouble at school. And once I reached like middle school, I almost even went to juvie because I kept getting into fights in school. I kept ditching. I kept skipping school. I cussed. I would try to be the class clown just so I can fit in. You know. I had way too many friends in middle school, but at the same time, they weren't really my friends. They just want, like, if they're getting you into trouble, they're not really good friends. But I didn't know that at the time. I guess because I would go home and I felt empty when I was at home. I just continued to act out in school and my life outside of that. It was only, I started calming down a little bit like in my sophomore year in high school. And that's when I started to calm down a little bit, because obviously you get a girlfriend and they calm you down a little bit. So yeah, sometimes. But I calmed down in the sense of I stopped getting into trouble and I stopped hanging around with the wrong crowd, but I still wasn't doing the right things. And while at the same time, you know, poverty was also a thing, and that we would have money sometimes, and sometimes we didn't. And then again, we would have money sometimes, and then sometimes we didn't, and that affected me a lot too. You know, I didn't like to see I love my dad, and I miss him every day, but I didn't like to see him struggle. But he did his best, and that's what I love about him the most. Is no matter what, he always put his kids first. You know, he always puts me and he always put me and my brother first. After that, another obstacle that I faced was my dad's death. Obviously, that's one of the things that affected me. That was very recent too. But I never thought that I was going to lose my best friend in life. You know, never thought that was going to happen. But at that time, it's crazy because I got closer to God at that time. And I don't know what happened to me that caused me to go down the path again after that. But instead of blaming God for my dad getting sick, I didn't. I had faith in him. You know, while he was going through all that, I had faith in him, and I knew that my dad was going to pull out. You know, I knew he was going to pull it off, and he was fine. You know, he got diagnosed with a really, really high degree of cancer. He had a brain tumor in his head, and it was pretty much inevitable for him to survive. But we did our best, you know, and my brother tried his best. We did all the research that we can to try to get him through, you know. I tried to put him on the right diet, you know. He didn't want to do chemotherapy because he knew his chances, you know. He's just like, I want quality of life instead of quantity of life. What good is it for me to go another 2 years if I'm going to be extremely, extremely in pain and suffering? And he really wasn't suffering, I can tell you that. He was happy, he was fine, he was healthy, until one day he got a stroke, you know. We had to drive him to the hospital again. They told us that his tumor didn't swell, but his brain swelled up big time. And he only had a couple of days to live. So he had the option for us to take care of him at his house, or for them to take care of him at the hospital, and he chose his home. And I think that's one of the best ways to go out. You know, you go out in your own home next to your family. But even at that, I didn't blame God. You know, for some reason, I didn't. You know, and I know a lot of people that they go through a lot and they blame God and they get mad, they rebel against God. But I knew that He gave me the strength to go through it. You know, I couldn't cry for some reason. Like, I just couldn't cry anymore. But I cried a lot when he when I first got the news that he got the cancer. I cried a lot. I don't remember ever crying that much. But got to spend more time with him then, than ever, and got to know more about him than ever. And I guess it gave me strength, for me to grow up, because I depended a lot on my dad. I depended a lot on him. And then eventually I was going to have to grow my own wings, and I was going to have to go my own path. And I knew that. So the day that he passed away, I remember we had to look after him in his room, because we had to transfer him to a hospital bed because he was unconscious for a couple of days, like 3. But we had to constantly take care of him, change him, and all that stuff. So I got to spend, me and my brother got to spend the last day that he was alive with him. We were there looking after him. We fell asleep. I fell asleep next to him, and I just looked up. I woke up in the morning, and my brother tells me, "Hey, my dad's gone." I looked next to me, and he was gone. But he seemed peaceful, which is weird. It's hard to explain. Like, I wasn't sad because I saw a sense of peace in him. Like, after all the suffering, after everything that he went through, it seemed like he had a smile on his face. And so I was like, okay, finally, like, after all the suffering for a week, he would even mumble, like, even though he was unconscious, because I knew he was in pain. But it's going to sound harsh, but I was actually glad he was gone, in the sense of, okay, he's not suffering anymore. He's fine. He's in peace. He can go in peace, and I can have peace knowing that I know he's in a good place, because my dad was a very giving man. I went on days where I would, like, pray to God and about him, and a year later, and I fell back. I fell back into going out, and maybe I wasn't doing like really, really, really bad things, but doing bad things is still a bad thing. Like, I was going out drinking, seeking the wrong people, hanging around with the wrong people. I mean, me and Jaime have gone through the same stuff. We've known each other for, me, him, and my brother have known each other for like. Oh no, no. It's really rare to find a really good friend like that, who we've grown up together and actually been there for each other. But fights again, and I mean, he got his car stolen for. But I didn't give up, no matter what. I still kept going, even though I fell, and I was trying to find God, no matter what. I was still trying to find him, even though at times I didn't feel him comfort me. There was times where I did, but there's times where I don't. After reading the story in the Bible, I understand why, and I understand why we face obstacles, and remaining faithful to God, no matter how hard it gets, is the best way. It's the best thing you can do. It's important to have an intimate relationship to God when you're facing these obstacles, even when you feel like he's abandoned you, if he hasn't. Don't let the world fool you. They will try to make you feel like God is the one that's creating all this, and he's not. Now, aside from your obstacles that you feel, that you go through in life, there's also internal obstacles that you face. And a lot of these obstacles are the ones that are blocking you from having an intimate relationship with God. And one of them, one of the very important ones, is pride. We have too much pride sometimes, and we don't want to accept God. We don't want to accept his blessings. And sometimes we don't even want to pray because we feel like, I can handle it. I'm strong. He's not going to do anything for me. I've been a victim of that. Not that I don't want to accept God, but I've been a victim of, well, I'm not going to pray for it because I'm going to get myself out of this situation by myself, when it's not like that. Try to carry him with you, even in the hard times. Another thing is sin. We continue to sin, you know, and we don't understand how it's like if you're being rebellious against God, how do you expect to get blessings? You're being rebellious against Him. Would you want to have a relationship with somebody who's rebellious against you? You wouldn't. You wouldn't. Because all you want to feel is like, okay, they're not listening to me. They're not doing what I ask of them. So it's the same to you as a child of God. If you're being rebellious against God, like, how do you expect to get blessed? You're being rebellious against Him. And that's what happens when you sin. You know? The next thing is doubt. You doubt what God can do for you. You doubt that He's a powerful God, that He really can bless you, but you doubt. You doubt yourself, and you doubt His abilities He can give you. And you're actually, I'm just going to say this straightforward. You know, if you have 2 feet, you have 2 arms, you have a brain, you have a functioning body, there's nothing that can hold you back from getting it done. He blessed you from the moment you were born because you don't have a condition, you know. But we make excuses, and we make a lot of stuff. We block ourselves from receiving blessings. We block ourselves, you know. And if you seek to have a good relationship with God, you need to get over that doubt. Like, seek Him, you know, keep seeking Him, keep going toward Him. And if you love God, you will continue wanting to learn. It's like, the best way I can explain it is, it's like if you love somebody or something, you love listening to them, right? Same thing with God. If you love God, you are going to like listening to the Word of God. So you need to get a good you need to have an intimate relationship with God. You need to love God. You need to, little by little, you'll get there. You know, get to know Him, and then you'll start listening little by little. And that's what happened to me, is that I actually started listening to God, and I actually started reading about Him and getting to know Him. And the more I read and the more I got to know Him, the more I wanted to learn, the more I wanted to hear, the more I wanted to get myself involved. You know, we have a lot of anger too. We hold a lot of stuff against God, like I said. We blame it on Him, or even towards life. You know, somebody does something to us and we hold it against those people. You know, instead of letting it go, just let it go. You know, but let's say somebody hurts us. You know, people can go years holding a grudge against that person. Years, you know. And we start calling them names and start talking bad about them and all that stuff instead of just being happy, you know. And you know, it may have hurt me, but you know what? I'm not gonna let it hurt me forever. And then I do like this verse in Proverbs 15:1. It says, "A soft answer turns away wrath, but harsh words stir up anger." So you have to watch out what you say to people, even though they hurt you. But what you tell them can you know, just learn to forgive. And even though you might not have a good relationship with them throughout life, but you at least forgave them, and you didn't engage with them the same way they engaged with you. And the last one is, you're on a rush. So that's what stops you from being in a relationship with God, an intimate relationship. You can't have an intimate relationship with God if you're on a rush, if you're in a hurry, you know. Sometimes you're in a hurry and you just want everything right away. You want everything right away, and you don't give it time, you know. Stuff doesn't come to you one day to another. It takes time. And same thing with God. We want to feel Him right away, and we want to feel His presence all the time. And He has other children to look after, you know. And you won't develop an intimate relationship with God like that if you just want everything right away, because you just want it all the way. And when you don't have answers, you'll just, He's not giving me any answers. He's not answering my prayers. What do I do? Well, I'm just going to go back to my regular life of just doing the same things. So with that said, I'm going to talk about first and foremost, like, can you guys think of anybody in the Bible, or any figures in the Bible, who have gone through obstacles? Can you guys name, every single one of them? What is your favorite figure in the Bible who has gone through an obstacle? Name, like all of you, name one. Jesus, Mr. Moses. So my favorite story in the Bible, one of my favorite stories in the Bible, and this one explains obstacles so well, is the book of Job. This is one of my favorite stories in the Bible. And I'm going to end this with the story of Job. Have you guys read the story of Job? So it starts off by Job was a righteous man of God. You know, he loved God so much, and he was doing right by him. And so one day, God has a gathering with his children, and Satan appears to God. So on Job 1, verse 8, it says, "And the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man, who fears God and turns away from evil?" So Satan answers to him. He pretty much tells him, he only loves you because he has all this good stuff. He has a good life. So he tells him in verse 9, "Then Satan answered, does Job fear God for no reason? Have you not put a hedge around him and his house and all that he has on every side?" Pretty much telling him like he only loves you because you've given him everything, you know. So he suggests to God, test him and see if he still loves you. So God's response to Satan is, "Behold, all that he has is in your hands. Against him, do not stretch out your hand. Do not hurt him, but test him." You know. So what happens to Job after that? I'm just going to read a part of the many stuff that happened to Job. But the one that hurts me the most is on verse 18. "While he was yet speaking, there came across another and said, your sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest broth for the house. And behold, a great wind came across in the wilderness and struck their four corners of the house, and it fell upon their young children, and they are dead." So his 10 children died. Can you imagine losing your children like that bad? It's harsh, you know. So he lost his home, he lost his sheep, his animals, and he lost his children. But even after that, what does Job say? In verse 21, part of verse 21, on chapter 1, verse 21, he says, "The Lord gave me, and the Lord has taken. Blessed be the name of the Lord." And all this Job did not sin or charge God with wrong. So he wasn't upset with God even after that. You know, he proved, okay, he gives me and he takes, and I'm not going to be upset about that. Even though he lost his children, he was still not upset. He still didn't rebel against God. So after that, God had another gathering, you know, and Satan appeared to him again. And God continues to praise Job, and he tells us, Satan again, "Have you considered my Job again? Blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil. He still holds fast his integrity, although you incited me against him to destroy him without reason." But what is Satan's response? Skin for skin. All that a man has, he will give his life for. So pretty much saying, he will do anything to save his own life then, you know, because he will do anything to save his own life, in other words. So just watch what he does when we curse him and we start doing bad things to his physical body. Exactly. So after that, he gets a skin disease, you know, and you see him suffer. And in verse 9, verse 2, chapter 9, chapter 9, verse 9, chapter 2, verse 9, I'm sorry. You see this verse right here, it says, The wife tells him, do you still hold fast your integrity? Curse God and die. Just pretty much tell him, just curse him. And the wife was going through a lot too. You need to understand, they lost their children. So the first thing she does is get upset, and she just tells him, curse him and die. Stop it, give up. But his response is better. He says, you speak as one of a foolish woman would speak. Shall we receive good from God, and shall we not receive evil? In all this, Job did not sin with his lips. So he still didn't curse God. He didn't take it to heart. Are we not supposed to suffer? Are we not? It's fine. So he goes on this journey, and his three friends come to him and tell me if you would want your friends to tell you all this stuff. If you're suffering, tell me if you would want your friends to tell you all this stuff. So one of his friends, Eliphaz, one of his responses to Job going through this is, he tells him, remember who that was innocent ever perished? Or were we the upright cut off? Pretty much saying that you're only suffering because you're a sinful man. It's like assuming that he's only suffering because you must have done something wrong. What did you do to suffer? So if you were going through something, would you really want your friends to judge you? And I know a lot of us have been there where we have not really good friends, but we're suffering, and instead of them, like, hey, like we got your back and all that stuff, they start assuming. They start telling you, like, hey, like, you probably did something wrong to deserve that. Or they start bashing you and and a lot of us in this world, instead of really loving and showing love to somebody that's suffering and trying to pick them up their feet, we bash them. We really do. And then another response from his other friend, Biladad. I guess that's how you say it. He tells him, he assumes that it's because his children have sinned. And he tells him, if your children have sinned against him, he has delivered them into the hand of their transgression. So another person that was just assuming that, it's because your children have sinned. They weren't really trying to help Job. They were just trying to knock him down and tell him, it's because you're going through this, or you did this, or you did that, and then comes another one of his friends, Zophar, actually. And he tells them, surely then, on chapter 11, verse 15 through 17, surely then you will lift up your face without blemish. You will be secure and will not fear. You will forget your misery. You will remember it as waters that have passed away, and your life will be brighter than the noonday. Its darkness will be like the morning. He was pretty much assuming that he wasn't doing his bidding to God, like not praying to him, not when he was as well. But pretty much, the long story short is that his friends, instead of picking him off his feet, they were just judging him, But Job's responses are even better. Job had a response to his friends. And the response to his friends was, I love his response to his friends. So here's his response in chapter 16, verse 4 to 5. It says, I also could speak as you do. If you were in my place, I can join words together against you and shake my head at you. Or I could strengthen you with my mouth, and the solace of my lips would I don't know that word. Assuage your pain. And we don't do that many times, you know. He was just telling them pretty much it wouldn't be the other way around. Even though you were going through a hard time, I wouldn't assume that you're doing this or you're doing that or you're rebelling against God. I would love you, you know. I would help you instead. And he had, during all these trials, he has had some interesting responses to God himself, you know, pretty much. In Job 6, verse 11, he says, "What is my strength that I should wait? And what is my end that I should be patient?" Pretty much giving up. Like he was, why should I no longer wait? Like questioning a little bit, you know, because after going through so much, you would already be like, he wanted to throw the towel. And then chapter 7, verse 7, he says, "Remember that my life is a breath. My eye will never again see good." So he was pretty much like saying like he would never see good. Like, yeah, he was hopeless, you know. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever felt that way, where like you're just like going through something so bad, so much, and you're just like, damn, I feel hopeless, you know. I will never see good again. I'm just never gonna love again. I'm never gonna feel the same as I used to, you know. In Job 10, verse 3, he says, "Does it seem good to you to oppress, to despise the work of your hands, and favor the designs of the wicked?" Now, has this ever sound like any of you where you're just like, damn it, like you put it against God, you know? You're just like you're going through something and you're praying to him and you're just like damn, why have you done this to me? You know, what have I done to you? I have not done anything to deserve this. But he still has faith. And in Job 19, 25 through 16, he says, "For I know that my Redeemer lives, and at the last he will stand upon the earth, and after my skin has been thus destroyed, yet in my flesh I shall see God." So he still has faith regardless. And he decided, instead of falling backwards, he fell, but he fell forward. He fell still believing in God. And a lot of us don't do that. We sometimes, and that's fine. I was there at some point where I felt like Job. I felt hopeless, you know. But no matter what, I didn't fall backward. You know, I always fell forward, kept going, picked up, you know. And I think the point of the story of Job is, are you willing to be faithful to God even when you're not getting your answers? You know, even when you're not being blessed, even when you're not in a high place, you know. In chapter 23, verse 3 to 4, he says, "Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might come even to his seat. I will lay my case before him, and I will fill my mouth with arguments." So pretty much, have you felt like that too? Where you feel like if you came across God, you would tell him everything like that's going on in your life. Like, hey, where were you when this happened? Where were you when this happened? You know, like, what's going on? You know, like, I'm asking for you, but he was still looking for God. He still wanted to. He was looking for him, trying to find him. But he still had his obedience to God. He was very obedient. And in verse 10 of that same chapter, but he knows the way that I take. When he has when he has tried me, I shall come out as gold. He knows that I'm still not rebelling against him. You know, I have not departed from the commandment of his lips. I have treasured the word of his mouth more than my portion of fond. He also meets this man along his journey, who pretty much is the middleman of the, like, hey, we get what you guys are saying, but Job may be right about some things, but he also still, and that's Elihu, yeah. But just to wrap it up and go towards the last of the last part of this book, God appears to Job, and he answers to him, and he pretty much questions him, like, were you there when I created the earth? How can you know? You weren't there when I created the earth. You weren't there when I did this. You weren't there when I did that. We may never know everything, you know, and we always ask for, we want to know too much sometimes, and why does this happen to me? And why does that happen to me? And we may not always get the answers, you know, to everything, and that's fine. You know, all we really need to know is that it's a lot simpler than that. It's really, we have a purpose here, you know, and our purpose is to serve God. And Job repents, even if he didn't, like, he repents to God. And in chapter 42, verse 4 to 6, pretty much repents to him, and he tells him, "Hear, and I will speak. I will question you, and you make it known to me. I had heard of you by the hearing of the ear, but now my eyes see you. Therefore I despise myself, and I repent in dust and ashes." So the fact that Job repented, like, God takes it hard, and he's like, damn, well, I don't mean to say that word, but, like, God pretty much, like, loves that Job still, after all that, like, he's still, hey, like, I understand my purpose now, you know. I understand what you asked for me. And so God blesses Job again. And the Lord restored the fortunes of Job when he had prayed for his friends, and the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. So that's a beautiful story. He might not have had replaced his old children. He still had more children after that. He may not be able to bring back the children that passed away, but he understood what his role was, and we have a bigger purpose than what we think, you know. And we also overcomplicate things sometimes, you know, with our relationship with God. We overcomplicate it when it's really not as complicated as we make it seem, you know. And after my trials and after reading this story, I've come to some lessons that I learned, you know, with what have been taught. And I thank God for, instead of getting mad of losing my dad, instead of getting mad of even the situation that I face now, where I don't know where I'm going to end up going, but I have a purpose. And because I have a purpose now, I'm not upset. I'm calm. I could be facing a lot worse. And whatever I'm facing right now, financial hardship, you know, struggling sometimes to pay my own rent, struggling to sometimes even know, like, will I lose my job the next day? Well, what's going to happen to me? But I try not to think too much ahead of things, you know, and I try to think of what's going on, what's happening now. And I know that I have a purpose right now. Like, no matter what, like my purpose is to serve God. And some of the lessons that I've learned with the obstacles I have faced, one, God does not owe me anything. He does not owe me nothing. I owe him more than I owe him my life. I owe him everything just by being born. Number two, I've learned to be more sympathetic and not judge, because I was very judgmental, and I was always hating on people or jealousy and all that stuff. But just like how Job's response is to his friends, that's how I've learned to be a little bit more, that despite people not liking me, or despite I don't hold it to heart anymore. I have a soft response to their anger, to people that are trying to hurt me. I no longer hold anything against anybody. Number three is God can handle your pain. Let it go. Pray. He can handle your pain, but we feel like he can't, and we doubt again. But he can handle your pain. Don't be afraid to pray. Prayer is actually really, really powerful. And I'm going to talk to, I remember a couple of weeks ago, I was afraid because I was feeling sick. And I thought I was getting a tumor because it runs in my family, because I felt one, and I felt a bump in my body. And I asked for prayer, and the youth and Sulema and Ernie prayed for me. And a week later, that bump shrunk. That bump shrunk big time, and now it's not even there. And that's the power of prayer. Not only that, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me praying. I know that. I know that God put me here for a reason. It's crazy how God works, And sometimes you may not even get the answer you want. Sometimes it's the answer that you need. Number 4 is, our true friends are revealed in times of trials. And you will know who your true friend is when you're going through a lot. I can tell you Jaime is a real friend. Jacob is a real friend. I've told him a lot of stuff that I've gone through in life, honestly. And you've been a really good friend to me ever since I got here. All of you guys, But I think I've shared more with Jacob, with more than anything, stuff that I probably wouldn't tell a lot of people. Love you too, man. And it's crazy how as soon as I got here, I instantly connected with Jacob, like right away. If anybody's going through anything, I just want you to know that I'm here for you guys too, because I know what it's like to face a lot of trials, and go through a lot of stuff, a lot of pain, and generational curses in my family have been tough. A lot of deaths in my family, a lot of divorces, a lot of separations. Some, not always. There's been some that actually marry and have a good life. But I'm going to touch on the last one, and we might not always get the answers to our whys, and that's fine. I'm fine with not always getting answers. We expect answers all the time, and I'm totally fine with that, because I'm just here to fulfill my promise. And that's pretty much it.
So, wait, where are you going? We have our next speaker, but I just want to say I'm very proud of my man here. Did an amazing job. It takes a lot to prepare, right? And come up here and share your word, right? And then you get nervous and whatnot, right? But next up, we got our man Jacob. shake around.
I know like it's a lot of information, and I don't want it to not capture what Jacob's gonna share. So just kind of, stretch, go get a water,
If I had music, I'd play it for you guys. We'd
go get a drink,
run around.
just take a quick adieu.
Want some water, Pop?
Yes.
We're gonna go pause the live video, and we'll be right back in a few seconds.
Go grab something to drink, shake it off. See? Everybody start coming in, please. She just got here. Camila. Yeah, you all could eat in here. Pueden comer aquí adentro. Y la dieta bien, gracias. I'm so happy today because Tristan and Josue are joining us. Charlene.
I'll eat it.
Remind me of your name, mijo. Edwin. Edwin? Devin. Uy, ya le cambié el nombre. Same letters, different order. Okay, come on, guys, come on, because we want to have. I want to have time to be able to play at least a game or two. Si no, me voy a tener que quedar con mi dinero. Right? I said that if we don't have time to play games, I'm going to have to keep all my money that I brought. No, we're not live yet. We're not live yet, right? No. Okay. Go ahead and start. I think everybody's in here. You let me know when, Michael. Yeah? Okay. We took a quick break, but as Ernie said, with us next is Jacob. And I just want to say that, man, I'm so proud of this guy because he's come such a long, long way. He's such an inspiration, a beautiful heart. And then also, he is also one that he seeks advice, he seeks good counsel, and much like Edgar, he always follows with it as well. And so it's also an honor and a privilege for us to have you be a part of this group. And I love how much you've grown and how you've developed. And it's like you're a new guy. I don't know if your mom could agree with me, but it's like he's a new man, right? Yeah, I mean, nobody knows him better than his mom. And honestly, like, it's been so exciting to see his growth. And so thank you for allowing us to work with him. But here you go.
Hello. All right, I'm just going to warn y'all right here, right now, we're about to go to war. Everybody, I'm letting y'all know. All of y'all watching too, we're going to war right now. This is going to be spiritual warfare. What's going to come out of my mouth is going to be purely from God, and it's going to be like a pie to the face for the enemy. So, the title of my sermon is called "Don't Bury Me, Faceless Enemy," and this is going to be about who the enemy is, his disguises, where he comes from, and how to stay firm in this broken world. So, who is the enemy? Anybody know? Everybody knows who the enemy is, right? Everybody knows who it is? Yeah. All right, and so who was he? He was the angel of music, right? He was a cherubim, and he is the father of lies. Okay. So, Satan in, Hebrew, it means accuser or adversary, to obstruct or oppose. So he's like the only one, he's like the head honcho of like opposing. Okay, and his old name was Lucifer. That was his angel name. And he was the most beautiful angel in existence. I guess he still is. He has a voice like no other. Like, he can sing like no tomorrow. He is the angel of music. And, well, he wanted to be God. And so what happened was that he started rallying up troops together. He started rallying angels together. And then what happened was that one of the angels started opposing him. And then so a war broke out in heaven. And so when that happened, the devil turned into a dragon. Ooh. Yeah, he turned into a dragon, and then after that, he was cast out of heaven. So, nice. I'm not sure, but I just know that he turned into like a serpent-like being, and I believe that's the dragon. And so what happened was that the humans, we took the right hand of God. We basically kind of just replaced him, and taking the right hand of God, and we were supposed to rule over all of creation. That is our initial purpose. That's what's probably going to happen after Jesus comes back, and after the book of Revelation comes to pass, everything, we're going to go back to our original purpose, to rule over all of creation. But then here comes this guy. He's like, hey, how's it going? Like, you see that fruit right there? Yeah, looks good, huh? You should take it. You should take it. You should take it. And then so what happened was we took it. And basically that was us saying to God, hey, we want to rule by our rules. We want to rule by our rules. We don't want to rule by your grace. We want to rule the world by our definition of good and evil. And so, okay, so this is like a little snippet of who the devil is. And well, the background of this is that Ezekiel went to go to King Tyre. This is in the book of Ezekiel. The verse is chapter 28, verse 13 to 18. And I'm just going to give you like a overall view of it. So Ezekiel, he went to go talk to the king of Tyre, and while he was there, he went to go confront the devil as well. Well, God. God, he went to go tell God's word to the devil. And basically he says right here, you are the anointed cherub who covers. I established you. You were on the holy mountain of God. You walked back and forth in the midst of fiery stones. You were perfect in your ways from the day you were created, till iniquity was found in you. Your heart was, and then I'm going to skip a verse, and it says, your heart was lifted up because of your beauty. You corrupted your wisdom for the sake of your splendor. I cast you to the ground. I laid you before kings, that they might gaze at you. So what does that mean? That means you were a cherubim. You were, to the cherubims, there's like 3 levels of angels, like, and there's the lowest, it's down in here on earth, and then the second level, that's like, in space and stuff, and then like the third level, that's where God is, like the presence of God. That's where that is. And so the cherubim, that was part of that. That was part of the cherubim. And so he was saying, like, you were closest to me. You were the closest angel to me. But the thing is, you became so full of yourself that, I had to cast you out of heaven because you wanted to be me. You can't really do that, bro. I'm the one that created you. But yet you're the one who was so prideful and like, that's unacceptable. So he's saying, I sent you down to hell because, your splendor, your greatness, like, you think you're so great, but you're not all that, bro. So, all right, so next question. What is sin? That's a word we hear all the time, right? That's a word we hear like all the time. Like, oh, we live a sinful life. Oh, I've sinned. I sinned. Like, that's a word we hear all the time, And so what does it actually mean? What does it actually mean? Like, so what do we think it is? We think we're like evil, nasty beings, like, Like, no, we're not. We're not nasty, evil beings. Ooh, we sin. No. So the Hebrew word for sin is kata. Kata means to fail or miss the mark. So what is sin? Sin is failure to love God and to love others. So let's look at the Ten Commandments. Everybody knows the Ten Commandments, right? Let me see. I'll pull it up real quick. Okay, yeah. So, you shall have no gods you shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make yourself a carved image. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. Honor your father and your mother. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's house, right? So let's go back to what is sin. Well, remember what I said. It's the failure to love God and failure to love others. Well, that's what the Ten Commandments are. They show you how to love God and show you how to love others. And so when we fail, that's basically what we fail to do. That is what sin is. And so I'll even mention what Paul said in, what was it? Yeah, I'll mention what Paul said in the book of Romans, his letter to the Romans. Okay, so it says, for the commandments, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not murder, you shall not steal, you shall not bear witness, and blah, blah, blah. And if there are any other commandments, are all summoned up in this saying, namely, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. So that's what it is. That's basically how to sum up the entire commandments, like to love others and to love God. That is what that is. And so that's Romans, where did I put it? Yeah, so that's Romans chapter 13, verse 9, and the title of it is Love Your Neighbor, so you want to check it out. So, yeah, and then notice how the Ten Commandments teach us how to love God and love others. So half of it is how to love God, or the first part of it, and then the second half is how to love each other. So when I sinned against you or sinned against my God, that means I have failed against you. I have failed against my God. So why do we sin, though? Why do we sin? You know, the age-old story, Adam and Eve, they took the apple, right? But like I said, Adam and Eve, they were given a choice. Rule by my wisdom or rule by your definition of good and evil. And so, what do you mean by definition of good and evil? What does that mean? Well, the thing is, we decide what's good and what's bad. That's basically it. And if we rule by that, obviously, look what's going on. You look at social media, you look at our governments, they sound kind of stupid sometimes. And you know what? We sound stupid sometimes too. But the thing is, when we submit to God, when we submit our lives to God, we don't rule by our judgment anymore. We rule by God's judgment. We rule by God's wisdom. We rule by His, we rule by His wisdom. And so, what can we do to avoid that? So the first thing I'm going to cover is idolatry and obsession. So what is an idol? An idol is an image or representation of a God used in an object of worship. So in other words, like something that you worship, like an object, like this microphone, I guess. And then to obsess, it means to preoccupy or fill the mind of someone continually, intrusively, and to a troubling extent. So that last part, that made me laugh. I was like, dang, to a troubling extent. So when we use that in our daily language, I'm like, so first things first, we need to take that word obsess out of our vocabulary, in our day-to-day vocabulary. Because the reason why we need to take that out of our vocabulary is because of the fact that if we keep saying that, it's obviously going to happen. We're speaking that into our lives. We're going to keep thinking about it, like we're going to keep like watching it or being with this person, or we're going to keep listening to this song, we're going to keep listening to this, and it could be bad for us. In fact, it probably is bad for us. If we obsess, if we keep thinking over something like that, like we're just going to keep listening to it, and like there's no room for God in our minds and our hearts because we're obsessed with it. Like, and then we can't like keep saying that like it's nothing. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so obsessed with this song. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm so obsessed with this show. Oh my gosh. I'm so obsessed with this character. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm so obsessed with this song. I'm so obsessed. Y'all need to realize what you're saying. Y'all need to realize what you're saying. You're just, oh my goodness. Y'all need to realize. Y'all are basically saying, I'm going to basically keep this as my idol. This is my idol. This is what I'm going to worship. This is what I'm obsessed with. That's what that means when you say that. So when you say that, don't. So change that word, obsessed, to love. When you change that word, obsessed, to love, it changes because you're not willing to just like worship it. You're not saying like you love this thing. Like, I love this thing. I love this show. This is a fun show. I love this show. It's a cool show. I like watching it. Or I like this character. It's a cool character. Or I love this song. It's a good song, and I'm willing to listen to it. And yeah, so we can love something, like I just said, because we were willing to watch it, we're willing to listen to it. But the thing is, we have to willingly let these things go also, like at the drop of a hat, like that. See? Because the thing is, like, if we hold on to it for too long, like, we hold on to it for too long, we're just gonna like squeeze it and crush it, and then like we have no room for like other people. We have no room for God. We have no room for anything else. Like, I'm basically just like holding on to this. I'm like, I don't want to let it go. I don't want to let it go. But then you gotta let it go, just like that. I understand it's a Bible. I mean, I have others. And it's still functional. It still works. But the thing is, we have to let go of objects like that. We have to let go of objects like that. Like, we just have to be willing to let go. And then for people, people. Okay, I need to talk to y'all for a second. Okay, so back when I was dating somebody, I made the dumbest mistake ever to obsess over this somebody. I was dumb for that. But once that started happening, everything went downhill. Everything went absolutely downhill. Like, especially for me, because like, I was like the worst kind of person. I was like the worst I've ever been, because I started obsessing over this person. And they were at the throne of my heart, like right here. They were above everything else. Everything else. God, all the way down here. Them, all the way up here. And so what happened? I'm single now. I'm single now. But that's what happens when we obsess over things. Things go downhill. Things spiral. Like, it's not good to obsess over things. And that's why we have to get rid of it in our daily language. We have to get rid of that. We have to replace the way we talk. We have to change the way we talk. And so we have to be willing to let some things go, some people go, because if we choose to love our God, we can't have anything else above him. Can't have anything sitting on our hearts like that. We can't, because that's where God belongs. That's where God is. That's where he needs to be, because we love our God. So what is love? Is it some like kind of feeling like, babe, I love you so much. Oh, I love you so much. Or, oh, it's a baby. Oh, it's a doggy. I love you. Yeah, and like we think it's just this feeling. We think it's like, oh my gosh, I'm in love. I'm in love. I'm in love. Oh, spread it to the world. I love this person. Like, that's not what love is. It's not a feeling. Because love is an action. Let's look at the most famous verse in the entire world, John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only son. He didn't have feelings for his only son. He didn't keep him close. He didn't do anything like that. What did he do? He gave because he loved us. That's why it's an action and not just a feeling. It's an action, not a feeling. I'm a little out of breath. I need water. But the thing is, think about that. Oh, thank you. Yeah, boom, thank you. And so let's think about it real quick. God so loved the Israelites. Think about it. They've messed up so many times. Even, y'all remember, like Moses was up there on the mountain of Sinai, and while he was up there with Moses, while he was up there with Moses, guess what everybody's doing? Idols. Yeah, exactly. Everybody was worshiping their idol. Everybody was obsessed with their idols. Think about it. Like, these people, like, they already broke the first commandment. And, like, of course God's going to be angry about that. I'd be angry about that, too. Like, what are you doing? What are y'all people doing? I literally brought you out of I brought you out of slavery, out of Egypt. What are y'all people doing? But then Moses was like, yo, you love these people, don't you? He's like, I'm not, like, and he said, like, you're a faithful God, aren't you? You're a faithful God, right? So please, spare us, give us mercy. And he did. He didn't kill them. Because he could have just killed them like that if he wanted to, but he didn't. And he stuck with them. He's still with them now. He's still with the people who choose him now. And so, despite all that, God was still with them. Despite their sin, their failure, God was still with them. And the crazy thing about that is, each and every single one of you here, including myself, we all have the right to reject God. That is a God-given right. That is what we get from birth. We have the birthright to reject God because he gave us that choice, and that's our right to do that. This is why choosing God isn't just a prayer. It's not just a prayer of salvation, like, oh, I prayed this salvation. Thank you, God. And then, how you doing? We can't do that. Yeah, just like say one day, like, no, it's actual devotion. This is why we give our lives to God as living sacrifices. That's why we give our lives to God like that. Because we can easily just say something and then go do something else. Our actions speak louder than our words. Our actions speak a lot louder than our words. Because we can talk the talk, but we're not walking the walk. You know what I mean? And this is why when we choose to give our lives to God, we are not our own. Like it's not a thing anymore. Like we belong to our God. We belong to our God. And this is why we can't be obsessed with anything. Because if we're obsessed with anything, or if we give anything that title of idol, we diminish God. And we break that covenant with God. And this is why we also need to guard our hearts, because our hearts are the most deceitful thing ever. And they're also the most hungry thing ever. It's the most hungriest thing ever. Like, I can tell y'all, like, if a heart was a person, they'd be the worst person ever. Because, I mean, imagine, if the heart was a person, they'd probably be only everything out for themselves. Like, think about it. Everything is out for themselves. This is all about me, 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 me. Oh, I'm bored. I don't want to be here. Oh, I want that person. They don't like me? Screw them. They're not pretty. I don't want to go to church. It's so boring. Church is so boring. I don't want to go. I don't want to read my Bible. I just want to go out there and see every Dick and Harry that I can find. I want to go out, because our hearts are so hungry for sin that we have that nature. It's in our blood. We're so hungry for our sin. But the thing is, we gave our lives to God, or you're about to, or you want to. And so that's why we can't obsess over anything like that, because we're just serving ourselves, not others and not God. That's sin. That's failure to love God. And above all this is why God must sit at the throne of our hearts. Because we can't live a blessed life if we don't have God in our hearts. We can't live a good, not easy life, but it's a hard life, but it's a good life. It's not easy, but it's a good life. And we live that blessed life, and we get our blessings from God. That's why we need God at the heart. And not only that, we get to serve others. We get to follow the commandments. We keep the commandments that God has. And so, I'm going to go ahead and lead this into religion, because this is something that can plague us all if we don't know what it really is. So religion is not relationship. So what is religion? So the definition of religion is the belief in and worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or gods. It doesn't sound too bad though, right? Isn't that what we do? We worship our God. He's our personal God. We believe in him, right? But let's look at the definition of relationship. The way in which two or more concepts, objects, or people are connected or in the state of being connected. That's totally different. And so if God wants a relationship with us, why are we? Yes, we do worship him. Yes, we do believe in him, but that's not enough. The thing that saves us, that gets us into heaven, is a relationship with him. It's not just, oh, I believe in you, God. I believe in you. It's not just, hallelujah. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to believe in God. What's that? Oh, I I don't talk to him. No. I only pray to him when I need something. Like, hey, what's up? I just need something. Like, can you, like, make me not single? Can you, send me my husband, like, now? I don't want to wait. Can you send me, like, my boyfriend now? Can you send me my girlfriend now? I don't want to wait. And then, like, when he doesn't do something, we're like, oh, I want it! And then so we just get it, and we just do dumb stuff. And then, like, we go out, like, we see other people, you know, we do stupid things, and we please ourselves, right? We just, because we're not willing to wait. And then, like, we just repeat that life, we live in that life, and then we still come to church the next day, we're like, praise God, yeah, he's awesome. And then I'm going to go out and see my 10 girlfriends or whatever. Like, this is an imaginary number. And so the state of religion, it's a lot, like, think about it. Now, you don't see a lot of Christ-loving people inside of religion. You don't see forgiving people in religion. You don't see loving people in religion, including the pastors. You don't see a lot of that. They're just out there for, like, the power. They're out there for manipulation, and that's evil. That's nasty. And then, like, they come up with all these laws. They come up with all these laws that you have to follow, but then Jesus already came to this earth and fulfilled the law. We just need to follow his commandments. We need to keep his commandments. Jesus came to fulfill the law and to fulfill the contract between man and God. That's what he came here for, because we couldn't do it ourselves. But the thing is, and then you're over here telling me that, like, it's necessary for baptism so I can get to heaven? I need to read a specific Bible? I need to follow all these laws and all these rules just to be saved? No, that's not it. We're saved by Jesus going and dying on the cross and believing in him and choosing to have a relationship with him. You know, and, like, apparently to religion that's not enough. Oh, we need these rules. Oh, you need to do this. Oh, you need to do that. No, we're saved by God. We're saved by Jesus Christ on the cross. That's what his blood was for. That's what his blood was for. And so, even Christians can be plagued by this. We're not an exception. We can go through that religion phase as well, especially when we're young, because I did that. I was living that kind of lifestyle when I was young. Lord help me. So, like, anybody can be a Christian. Like, yeah, I say, oh, I'm a Christian. But can everybody claim to be a follower of Christ? Like, a true follower of Christ. Like, I'm willing to die for my faith. I'm willing to suffer for my faith. I'm willing to suffer for being up here. I'm willing to be attacked by the devil himself just to be up here. I'm willing to trust in my God through everything, even if I have nothing. Like that, like, people can come to this building and buildings like it and sing, holy, 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 and then dance. Like, oh my goodness, I love this song. Yeah, I love singing this hymn. Yeah, tattoos are evil. Yeah. And then, like, they still live a life of sin. Like, they're like the meanest people ever. And, like, they just tell you, like, oh, you're not, you're sitting there watching pornography. Oh, you know what? It's just you're not faithful enough. Oh, you're depressed? Don't be depressed. Oh, you're sad? Oh, you don't believe in God? Well, guess what? You're going to be punished. You're going to go to hell. Like, that's not going to save people. You're telling people, I mean, yeah, that's a thing. That's going to happen. And that's not how you get people to Christ. You show them by showing the character of Christ. Like, you show them through love. You show them by who you are. And the only thing you're doing is turning them away. Because you're like, you shouldn't be doing that. Nah. I'm not having that in this church. We're getting this tattoos removed. Oh, you cut your hair? You dyed your hair? Ew. Oh, you got a baby daddy? We don't need none of that in this church. Get out of here. And so, like, and then you turn around and then you see these people out there doing dumb stuff too. Like, they're not at fault. Like, oh, I'm holier than thou, but you're out here like what? Sinning. You're failing to love people. I mean, I've done that too. I'll readily admit that I failed. because I mean I'm human. That's just a part of the deal. And so I'm gonna make a bold claim right here. Okay, religion is man-made. It's our man-made image of God, not the true worship and obedience of the true God. It is an image. It is an image. So do you have religion or do you have relationship? Is it just, oh, I come to church on Sundays, Wednesdays, and oh, I just came to this thing, and like, that's it? Like, I'm out, like, or do you have a true relationship with God where every day looks like crap sometimes? Where every day you're having to depend on the grace of God. Every day, like, for instance, like, let's say, like, you lose your job or you're failing your classes, like, you know, stuff like that happens, like, and you have to truly believe in God for that. Like, yes, you put in the work, but also you need to really trust in God. And so, if you don't know God, how can you worship Him? If you're obsessed with something, how can you freely worship and learn from God? How can you give your life to something or someone that you don't know? And so I'm going to leave y'all to answer that on your own. So I'm going to go on to the next thing. It's what spiritual fat is. Okay, so what happens when we eat too much food and too much junk food? What? Exactly, yeah. You can become healthy, you gain weight, you get fat. So is it okay to eat junk food? So is it okay to still like eat junk food, like maybe like the occasional chips or like, you know, yeah, every once in a while, right? You know, but like I'm just gonna leave y'all to answer that because for some of you it's like no, for some of us like So I'm gonna leave y'all to answer that. So what happens when we consume too much worldly stuff? What happens if we consume too much of that? Like I'm talking about like anything that's not Christian, like let's say, I don't know, some stuff on Netflix. Like, yeah, that's true. That's true. So I'm just going to name off some shows off the bat, like Owl House, Stranger Things, sorry. Lucifer, yeah. So like that stuff worldly like that. So is it okay to consume that? Like, is it okay to consume that? Is it okay to like actually watch these things? But you know what? I'm gonna leave that up to y'all. That's up to you guys to decide because I'm not you guys. I don't know what y'all can handle or can't handle. So, but I'm gonna let y'all know that the devil can easily hide in the music and the shows that we watch. Yeah, video games too. These things can become strongholds in our life. But we hear that word every once in a while. So like, what's a stronghold? Check this out. It's a place that has been fortified so as to protect it against attack. So when I say that these shows could be strongholds, this is a place where the devil could hide and manipulate our minds without us noticing. He can basically just go incognito. Some of y'all don't know what that is. So like some of us so sometimes the devil can go incognito in these shows, and we just don't know it because it's a stronghold. We just don't know what it is. We can't see it. So this is where Satan can hide. And Satan's goal, as we all know, is to take us down to hell with him because misery loves company. And his biggest lie that he tells us through media is that either hell isn't real or it isn't serious. And so we need to keep our eyes peeled. This is why we have to cover ourselves in the armor of God. So that when we watch or listen to this worldly content, we don't fall as easily. We don't fall to it as easily. And this is why our discernment, it has to be at a high level at all times. And if it's not, right now at least, like that's okay, but we need to start developing it. Because when we start developing it, we see devil in almost everything. We see him in social media, we see him in the TV shows we watch, the anime we watch, the shows that we watch. We see him in music, video games. We see him everywhere. And the thing is, like, we have to be aware of that. We can't just sit around, like, saying, oh, it's just a show. Oh, it's just fake. It's just fiction. It's just this. It's just that. No, it's a stronghold. He's hiding there. And we're just too blind not to see him because it's our choice to be blind like that. And so, also, we have to know our spirit limits spiritually. Like, think about it. We have to know what we can and can't watch for ourselves and what the Holy Spirit has for us. Like, for me, I can't watch specific type of anime. Like, that anime. Like, I can't watch that. Because if I watch it, I'm going to fall into sin. And so I had to cut that off. Like Jesus said, like, if your arm brings you to sin, cut it off. And so you have to know what you can and can't watch spiritually. Because if you don't know, then you're going to fall to the logic of this world so easily. Like, it's not going to be funny. Like, you're going to fall to anything and everything that you see on the internet. You're going to fall to everything and everything that you hear. You're going to fall for it. And then it's going to take you away from God. It's going to take you like that. So quickly. So that's why we need to build it up. We need to get stronger in the spirit. And if you're not right now, then that's okay. But we need to start developing it. I'm not trying to condemn y'all. Because I watch shows like this too. Like I said, I watch anime. But the thing is, we just need to know what it is and what isn't the devil. We need to know what we can or cannot watch. Yeah, we can't know unless, yeah. Exactly. And so when we read our Bible, we consider it as our daily bread. Because the Word of God is our daily bread. That's for our food. That's the food we have spiritually. And when we watch Christian media, it's like eating good food, like really good food that's like good for you, that tastes good. Like it's just good. Like good food, like healthy pizza. Sometimes it's pretty dang good. Yeah, you can like buy that at Walmart. Like me and my mom, we have it every once in a while. Yeah, you can actually. Yeah, there's healthy pizza and it's delicious. Yeah. So like it's good food spiritually. And we eat every day. It's a necessity. Just as we want to take care of our bodies, we have to, take care of our bodies and look nice. We need to treat our spirit the same way. Because if we're looking good, but not feeling good inside, those are two totally different things. It's like looking at a beautiful house on the outside, and then it's all messy in the inside. Or going into somebody's car that looks good, but it's like a pigsty in there. Like nasty trash, garbage cans, like, it's nasty. It's a garbage can in there. Like, so that's what that is. Like, we may look good on the outside, but on the inside, we're not doing too good. So, we need to treat the spirit in the same way as we treat our body. And so I'm gonna change the rhythm a little bit. So, I'll ask y'all another question. Why must we suffer? Why must we suffer? Really? So I'm gonna start off with a couple things real quick. Satan is not God's equal. It's not God's equal. He has no power against him. He can't do nothing. And his existence, watch this, is an insult to Satan himself. His existence is an insult to himself. Because he's reminded that he can't do nothing. He's reminded that God is all-powerful and that he can't thwart God in anything that he does. He can't. Even though he tries, he's still trying today. Like, for example, I couldn't sleep last night at all. Well, I mean, not at all. I was able to sleep, but like for a good couple hours, I was getting spiritually attacked because of what I'm doing today, right now. Because he's still trying to attack. He's still trying. He doesn't want us doing this. He doesn't want us coming up here and spreading the word. He doesn't want us teaching others. He doesn't want us freely giving knowledge. He doesn't want us doing that at all. In fact, he wants us to stay cowards. He wants us to stay at home. He doesn't want us coming over here. He doesn't want us at all. And so that's why his existence is an insult to himself. Because he cannot thwart God. So So why does God allow bad things to happen? Why does he allow bad things to happen? Well, let's look at the story of Job, as Edgar has mentioned. Job, he lost everything. Man's lost everything. And he was innocent. He was a good guy. He worshiped God and he truly knew God. But yet, he lost everything. So what's up with that? Like, we know the story, but why would God allow that? Why would he allow that? And so how can God be all good? He flooded the earth, right? He killed tons and tons of millions of people, and like he killed everything in the flood, right? So let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at it real quick. So in the book of Enoch, that's like not in the Bible, but it is truth, it is gospel. Like the book of Enoch, y'all should take a look at it. It's really good. In the book of Enoch, there were these angels called the Watchers. They were supposed to be watching over us, but then all of a sudden they're like, "Ooh, look at them girls. Let's get some for ourselves, huh?" And so, yeah, so that's what happened. And so they came down to earth. They had relations with these women, and then all of a sudden you got these nasty beasts out there. They're called the Nephilim. They're called the Nephilim, and that's briefly mentioned in the New King James Version. So if you look in the New King James Version, it's like briefly mentioned. And so like that points to the book of Enoch. And so like and then the angels, they were teaching us how to sin. They were teaching us about witchcraft. They were teaching us about like everything evil in God's eyes. Everything. Like the things that we're going through right now, the angels, the Watchers, they taught us that. They taught people that. They taught people the war. They taught people how to do things like that. And so while that was going on, while that was going on, Enoch was appointed to be the mediator between the angels that fell and God. And so after that happened, Enoch was taken through a bunch of apocalypse. And what apocalypse is, it's not like the end of the world. It's actually like a spiritual experience that you have. And so when you have an apocalypse, let's say, Paul had an apocalypse when he saw Jesus when he was going to Damascus. He was having that spiritual experience. And so when you have an experience like that, so he was going through that. He was seeing everything that God had, that God made. And so while everything was going down up there, what was going down on here was Noah was building the ark, because he was told to by an angel because of all the sin that was going down, all the nasty monsters and all that. And so it took Noah like about 120 years to build the boat, didn't he? So then, doesn't that mean that God gave him chances to repent? A whole 120 years, right? And so why do we get mad at him for that? He gave us a chance. It's not like he didn't. It's not like he said, "Oh, make the boat now." So and then like Noah builds it in a day, and like all of a sudden, boom. I know he gave him a chance. He gave everybody a chance. Because like everybody saw it. Everybody saw what he was doing. But guess what they did? Instead, they started laughing at him and started scoffing at him like, "Well, it ain't gonna rain. What are you talking about? You crazy, bro." They thought he was ridiculous. But the thing is, like he got rid of all of that sin because he wanted to reestablish a relationship with us. And not only that, we are his creation. Watch this. Y'all mad that I did that? It's my notebook. Y'all mad that I did that? It's my Bible. So why are you mad about God flooding everything? I'm going to go get it. So the thing is, why are we mad that God does whatever he wants with his creation? We are his creation. He can do whatever he wants with us. So, I have a couple more questions. Why did God allow this to happen? Why did God allow something in my life to happen? Why does God give me like a boyfriend or girlfriend or a husband or wife? Why did God allow me to be molested? Why did God take this life? Why did God take this life of this person? Why did God allow World War I or World War II to happen? Why does ISIS still exist? Why do these terrorist groups still exist? Why am I still alone in life? Why do I feel so alone? Why am I so depressed? Why do I feel like killing myself? Well, the thing is, how do you know what love is without experiencing what hate is? How can you know what light is without suffering from darkness? How can you know what love truly is without experiencing the darkness that this world has? How can you know God's light without experiencing the darkness that this world has? how do you know that God's not working? How do you know that God doesn't have a purpose for that pain? How do you know that God doesn't have a purpose for all that pain that's going on in the world? How do you know that God's not working? How do you know that God's not moving? Sometimes when God puts us through these situations, sometimes it's a test of our faith. Sometimes it's God trying to get our attention. Or it's truly, truly evil that is coming up in this world. But that doesn't mean that God can't use that for his glory. That's all. Mental illness. Mental illness is not from God. Mental illness is not from God. It's what happens when we submit to the torture of the demons that they give us. When we submit to that, that's when our life starts to suck. Because I went through that depression. I went through that self-hatred. I went through that. And I can tell you right now that it is demonic. It's not from God. And I don't submit to that no more. I don't. Because God says truly different things about me. He says that I am beautiful and I am his creation and I am his son. And that's what he says about each and every one of us. He says that about each and every one of us. And so, why did I name this Don't Bury Me, Faceless Enemy? Where did that come from? Well, it came from a song called Dear Agony by Breaking Benjamin. Some of y'all heard it, some of y'all haven't. I don't know. But the entire album, the face of the album was the singer's head while it was the singer's brain while he was going through mental illness. That's the face of that album. And then the first song in that album is, the name of the album is Dear Agony. And so when that guy, he's singing that, he says, Dear Agony, just let go of me. Suffer slowly. He's telling the agony to suffer slowly. But he asks, is this the way it has to be? And then when he says, and he, like in the song, he also says, God, let go of me. God, let go of me. Because we all sometimes go through that sometimes. That depression, that death, that anger. Like, God, why? God, why? Well, let's go back to Job. Because, Job is like one of the greatest examples that we have for going back to God. Like, he lost everything. But at the end, he still praises God. Why? Because he knows that he's God. Even I can bet you my bottom dollar that man was depressed after losing his kids and his everything. Like, he wasn't like, yeah, I lost everything. Yeah, I lost everything. Yeah. No. What if y'all lost everything? You lost the clothes on your back, your health. You guys lost your video games, your TV shows, your precious characters, your precious phones, your precious social media, your precious YouTubers. What if you lost everything like that? Your parents. That's going to happen. We are going to lose our parents. So why? Because God has a purpose for everything. He can use every single little thing. He can use every evil thing that has come out of us for him. Well, how? How can he do that? I'm living proof. Isn't that right, Mama? But also, we can't forget to rest either. We can't forget to rest because that's technically a commandment. That's what a Sabbath is like a Sabbath is a time that we take to rest. A time that we take to just relax, take a break from everything. Take a break from this world, take a break from everything. Everything. And we just let God handle the rest. Because unrest leads to spiritual illness. Have y'all ever felt that have y'all ever felt like burnt out? Especially from school. Like, I was in everything in my junior year. Y'all look back at my mom. Yeah, I was in everything. And then my senior year, I took a job. This is probably the dumbest thing I should have ever done. Like, my grades suffered because of that. But, like, I wasn't resting. I wasn't doing my homework. I wasn't doing nothing like that. I was basically sinning because I wasn't keeping a commandment from God. And a lot of us tend to do that. A lot of us tend to have days where we don't rest. Like, oh, I got this. I'm just going to stay up for like 24, 34, 44 hours just to get this homework done. I got to stay up. Ooh, coffee. Got to do it. Got to do it. Got to keep going. Got to keep going. Got to keep going. This is going to happen. You're going to just fall flat on your face. You know, like, but the thing is, it's so easy to do that. It is so easy to do that. Like, oh, I got this. I'm just going to put in that grind. Yeah, I'm going to put in that grind. Put in that grind. Yeah, I got to get that money. Got to get that bag. Got to get that bread. Shut up. Shut up. You sound so dumb right now. Shut up. Because what you're doing to yourself, you're basically killing yourself. Oh, I can rest till I'm dead. But that's what you're going to get. You're going to die. People that don't rest die so much faster than people that do rest. And the people who do rest, they look so much younger than they are. They look so healthy. Like, think about it. My mom, she looks younger than she is. Yeah, she looks like she's still in her like late 20s. Love you, Mom. But the thing is, like, rest is a command from God. Because he rested on the seventh day. Because if he rests, then we should rest, right? He literally made us like that too. Like, we sleep. Sleep is basically like our daily rest, I guess. Like, that's just how we were made. We sleep every day. But that's not like, it's not rest for our bodies, and that's not rest for our souls. That's just rest from the day. Like, we need more than that. So rest comes from those of us who are weary. Y'all heard that one? Like, Jesus, like, he's like, oh, come to me, all y'all who are weary. Like, this is why, because we're doing this to ourselves. We're basically just killing ourselves over and over again. All right? So, all right, Pastor Ernie, we need your help. What? Yeah. Who wants to throw this at me? Michael, come throw this at me. Justin, come here. Come throw this at me.
Just remember that we're in a sanctuary, guys, okay? Please do not break anything. Okay? Remember, this is the house of God, so let's...
Yeah, let's be careful.
Yeah, be careful, okay?
Okay, so all right, Pastor Ernie, we need your help. You two stand over there. You two stand over there. Pastor Ernie, I need you to stand right over here.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm a linebacker?
Okay. So you're right here, right? Okay, so I have some rules for you guys. You guys cannot move from where you are. Back up a little bit. I want y'all right here. Okay, so y'all cannot move from where you are. You cannot move where you are either. So your guys' goal is to hit me with them footballs. Your goal is to protect me, but you cannot move.
I can't move?
You cannot move at all. You can't move a muscle in your body.
Wait, I can't move at all?
No, you can't move at all.
I can't do
No, you cannot. You cannot move at all.
Well, how can I protect you?
Watch this. So,
Wait, you're going to throw that at me, aren't you?
hey, y'all, don't hurt him. Don't hurt him. Y'all should hurt. Aim for me. Aim for me. Okay, so I'm out here, right? Like, he's taller than me. Like, he can easily protect me, right? Hey, y'all can throw it now, actually. But, like, don't hurt Ernie. So, like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Can't get me. Can't get me, bro. See? Okay. Here, take this back. Okay, I'm going to flirt with danger. I'm flirting with danger. Flirting with danger. Yeah, okay. You're trying to hit me. Oh. See, he hit me because I wasn't behind Ernie. And so watch this. Nah, they're not going to hit me. Nah. Y'all can't get me. Go ahead, throw it. I'm gonna... Ernie, where were you? Ernie, where were you? Ernie, where were you? Ernie, I don't see you no more. Where are you? I can't see you no more, Ernie. Okay. Okay, so what did I just represent? Who are they? What do they have in their hands? No, it's not sin. What is it? No, what is it? What is it? It's ammunition against us. You said football. And so what is Ernie? Yeah. What am I? So what was I doing?
Could I also be considered the Holy Spirit?
Yeah, you can. Well, technically, yeah.
Well, God's
So,
only
yeah.
three, but
So what was I doing? I was doing this, right? I could have easily just stayed like this, and they would have hit me. But the thing is, we flirt with sin. We flirt with these things. And so when Ernie was asking, I can't move? I was like, no, because God doesn't move. He stays true to who he is. He does not move. We move. So how can he protect us if we're out here in the middle of the fire? How can he protect us from the ammunition that they have against me? How can I be protected? I'm not protected. And then I was literally just crying, why? Ernie, where were you? That's us. Because I was looking at them. And I was looking at the girl, I was like, why? I was sitting there crying like a baby. But I wasn't even looking at him when I was doing that. I only looked at him like once. And then I just turned to them. Because I was so focused on where was he. And then the dumb thing that I did was like, oh, they're not going to hit me. Oh, they're not going to hit me. But look what happened. I got hit because I'm in the middle of a fire. I'm not protected. We're not protected by the graces of God. Because we're too busy flirting with danger. Too busy looking at these girls on Instagram. Too busy looking at these boys on Instagram.
you're looking at boys on Instagram.
Too busy looking at these boys and girls on the TV shows. Yeah, y'all can sit down. Thank you. Hey, you say that, right? You say that. Y'all say that, huh? But we all fail. Each and every single one of us, we probably have failed or probably will fail. And that's what that is. Every time I went out of his protection, what did happen to me? I got hit. I even got hit while I was in protection. I got hit while I was in his protection because I was literally halfway in, halfway out. Halfway in, halfway out. Each and every single one of us has experienced failure. I mean, I'm no exception. I have failed at being a musician, a friend, a boyfriend, a man, a son, a student, and a follower of Christ. I've done all these things. And it's not that I don't want to. It's not. In fact, it breaks my heart that the ones that I'm closest to, those are the ones I fail the most. And my friends, they could probably testify to that too, but not right now. Later, I guess. I don't know. And that includes God himself. Since God is the closest to me, I fail him the most. But isn't that the beauty of that? Really, think about it. Let's speak for me, for instance. I forgive others because I've done wrong by others. I want to serve the church because the church has served me. I want to be there for you because I don't want for you guys to suffer the way I suffered. But most importantly, I do all these things because my God has saved me. My God loves me. He's there for me. He's the reason why I'm not alone. He's the reason why I'm alive. He does all this even though I don't deserve it. I don't deserve God's grace. I don't deserve his love. But yet, God is just that good. I don't deserve the life that I have. I don't deserve the breath that I breathe. But I'm still here. He's not done with me. Because I'm moving, I'm breathing. I eat food. I have a car. I have a house. I have a loving mother. I have a loving father. I have 2 loving grandmothers from my dad and my mom's side. I have you guys. Each and every single, even though if I failed you, I still consider you, each and every one of you, a blessing in my life. Each and every single one of you. Each and every single one of you. Doesn't matter. And if I fail you, I'm sorry. I'm not perfect. I can't promise you guys that I won't be perfect. But I promise you guys I'll always be there for you. Doesn't matter what's going on in between us. Even if it's a bit awkward a little bit. I'll always be there for you guys. Even if y'all hate me. Even if y'all don't like me. Even if you guys, like, truly, like, even if you, like, do something to piss me off or do so, like, even if you kill my mother, I'm still going to love you. Sorry, Mom. But see, that's the thing. Oh, my goodness. Never mind. See, God is just that good. Because I don't deserve the blessings that I have. I don't deserve nothing. I owe God nothing. But I owe him everything, including my life. And me personally, where is it? I can say this because I know God. The devil will use your failures against you. The ammunition that they had, the little footballs, that's the ammunition. Oh, y'all can keep the football if you want. The devil will trip you up. But guess who's going to be there to pick you up? In fact, you can even leave God. Like I said, that's your God-given right. But where is he going to be? He's going to be in the same place you left him. I left Ernie's protection, right? But he was still there. Was he not? Even though I came here into the middle of everything, he was still right there. Yeah, they were right there too. But he was also right there. And Ernie, I know he's not hateful. He loves every single one of us as if we were his children. And the same goes for Sulema. But that's the thing. But my father, like, he may not be in El Paso, but I'm just, like, if something were wrong with me, I bet he'd drop everything to come get me. And if I were not here in El Paso, I bet my mama would drop everything to come and get me. And for some of y'all who have the means and the means necessary, I bet y'all will come and get me in whatever I'm doing. And even if y'all don't, if y'all did, you probably would. And the same goes for me. I'm gonna drop everything for y'all. Because I love you guys. Not because I'm trying to get close to you. Not because I'm trying to, like, I don't know, have a relationship with you guys or with a guy or with the man. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to, like, kiss your butt so I can make y'all like me. No. That's not why I do these things. It's not because I don't need to prove myself to anybody. I need to prove myself to nobody. I'm proven by God. I'm anointed by God. I'm anointed by God in everything. So, you may leave God, but God will never leave you. He hasn't left me at all. And if he did, I'd probably be dead. I wouldn't be like, and if I truly submitted to them demons, I wouldn't be here. But by the grace of God, I am here. And I know it's painful sometimes to hear that when your loved one is going through something like that, or when your friend is going through something like that, or your son is going through something like that, or your mother is going through something like that, or even your boyfriend or girlfriend, they might go through something like that. But even if my mom dies tomorrow, I'm still going to believe in my God, because I know He's got her. I know He loves my mama. I know He loves each and every single one of you. I don't have to worry about nothing. I don't have to worry about eating tomorrow. I don't have to worry about having a roof over my head. I don't have to worry about having a bed underneath me. I don't have to worry about having the big Mexican blanket that is so comfy and I just can't leave it in the morning. I don't have to worry about having a car, even though it's so expensive to drive and to exist. I don't have to worry about nothing. I don't. Because I'm living, right now, I'm truly, truly blessed. I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a lot of friends. But I'm truly blessed with what I have. With each and every single one of you, even those of y'all who are laughing in the back. I still love each and every single one of you. And so, also, I'm going to end off on this. Don't fall for what this world has for you. This world has, when you truly experience it, the world has nothing for you. Yeah, the shows are cool. Yeah, like everybody's watching porn. Yeah, everybody's having a girlfriend, boyfriend, and they're doing their thing. And oh yeah, everybody has a body count. Sure. My dad just texted me. Love you, Dad. And yeah, don't fall for that. Because I know, like, even some of you guys here, I know you guys know He exists, but some of you may not even have a relationship with Him. Y'all are young, and I understand that. Like, y'all are around high school. I was the trash in high school. I was a bad person to be around in high school. I was not a good person to be around in high school. Isn't that right, Mama? Yeah, I wasn't the best person to be around. I was that filth for Christians to be around. But because of that suffering, because of me going through that, I chose God above everything else. And I choose to love and not hate. Even if nobody looks at me. Like if I'm driving, I'm not going to get mad at nobody. I was a dumb driver too. Like, I still make mistakes when I drive. Just look at my car. Just look at my car. Okay, I'm wrapping it up right now. And so if you fall for these things, it will lead to spiritual death. And that's what God meant in the Garden of Eden. If you eat of this fruit, you will die. And He didn't mean die like to the dust. He meant spiritual death. And so I'll leave you with this verse, this book. I want you all to read this verse. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4. Hopefully it'll help y'all learn about what it means to truly, truly fight the enemy. Okay, that's it. That's all I got. Time's it.
We are dismissed from Facebook. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing this time with us. YouTube, I'm sorry. Please share with others the great word that was shared today. But thank you so much for joining us today. And as